more integrated. It's not really topics. It's more learning about life.
If teaching method is traditional way still going on, parents need to give children more, cartoon or more.
Right. Make
YouTube.
it more alive. Like what you were doing. Basically, what you were doing is instead of just studying word definition, try to see the bigger picture. So by looking at those example sentences, that's one way. You can also, like for example, if you need to study French, then why do a lot of people learn Japanese at the moment? Because they are interested in manga. So manga, and they want to try, and they get interest in studying Japanese. It's the same thing for me. I really didn't like studying German at all, but I really liked to watch German television programs. So actually I learned German by watching television programs, not by studying German in school.
So it means how are you going to teach English for the younger student?
I think by making it very practical. So when I started to study English, so for example, after 2 weeks in school, so we had a vocabulary about this big. We already had to do role play and have a conversation in English. Of course, we couldn't, but it didn't matter. The point was that you used English as a language to communicate, not as something to study, but as a tool to communicate. We also, for example, in the first month, we learned how to play cricket. So we went out during English class and we learned how to play cricket. We didn't speak any, well, maybe there were some things shouted by the teacher in English, but basically to get a little bit more an idea, okay, this is what English people in Britain do. So it becomes more to kind of raise more interest in what is England and why is it different and why is it interesting, and I want to know a little bit more about these people, and if I want to do that I need to speak English. And we had music in class, so favorite song, then people could bring their favorite song with a cassette tape, and we need to bring the lyrics and the song, and we play the song, and then we try to understand the lyrics.
My concern is how you're going to teach students they can read Economist, New York Times. Vocabulary is 12,000 to 15,000. It's very difficult.
So,
right? How do you...
So for me, actually, I had to go through that, because like when you graduate, I had very good grades for English, but my vocabulary was not so big. So to get to the higher level in university, all of our literature was either in English or in German. There was nothing in Dutch. I think maybe 1 or 2 books were in one on 40, 50 books. So that's less than 5% was in Dutch, because it's such a small country. So we had to read everything in English and everything in German. So then, how do you do that? Because the vocabulary was the level was way above from what I learned in high school. So dictionary, and I really remember always needing the dictionary first year, maybe halfway through the second year, and then I realized that I didn't need the dictionary anymore, and I could just go without bringing a dictionary and read the books and kind of understand what was going on. It's the same thing about in Japan. Like, I could not write anything, but gradually I realized that, if I need to communicate with our cleaners, for example, I don't need to look up the dictionary anymore. I can type it and kind of understand simple Japanese and exchange emails and things like that. It's gradually it will come step by step. But the main thing was, for me, I needed to do that in order to understand what was in the books, and that was for me was important. So if you want to be able to understand what they're singing, what they're saying in the movies, or what is written in the book, you need the tool of English. But there is a clear objective. Clear objective. So the objective is not to learn English. The objective is to appreciate the music. The objective is to understand the movie.
Still, they vocabulary.
It's a means to an end.
Not increase.
It isn't?
No.
It doesn't stick.
Yeah, it doesn't stick. That's not interested in doing that. How is it going to do that? This is my concern. How is it going to increase?
But that means if it doesn't stick, then every time you read the same thing, you have to pick up the dictionary and look up that word again. And in the end, you get sick and tired of looking up the dictionary, no?
I'm doing more than 15 years, but still, I can't reach the level of vocabulary.
But maybe I started to do this much earlier in life. It's much easier to absorb these things when you are 14, 15, or 20 to 25 than when you are in your 60s. That's reality. If I see how slow I am learning Japanese compared to students who come here, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, like this morning, I teaching Confucius book, and also the YouTube, and explain the keyword. But how many are going to watching YouTube? But I find that many new words and just kind of endless. Even if many years I spend time, but new words coming up. But it looks like endless. For children, the same. Japanese are not native, so I think.
Well, there comes a time where you come to the level where, basically, you understand so much context that you can kind of understand the meaning, because you understand so much that is going on around that language. So I don't know all the words, but because I understand so well what they say around these words, I can kind of, from the context, I can understand the meaning of that word. So even though I've never studied it.
For example, I went the advanced course in English school 3 years ago, twice, 6 months ago, twice. I attended, and that was so easy, the most advanced course. So easy to attend, 15 minutes for one session, right? But so easy for study, but not more advanced course, we don't have it, not like this. And you and I talk every Saturday afternoon. I have not so much difficulty to communicate with you, but reading economy, still I need a dictionary.
So my English is very simple.
10 years later. How can I solve this issue? I need to do teaching for children same way, but I spent more than 10 years, but still, I can understand. And this economist here, how come? This is, I think, I'm using dictionaries. I'm not reluctant to using dictionary. But children is very tough for them to use dictionary. They are not familiar with using dictionary, right? My case is okay. Reading article every morning. I'm reading article, and because those articles which I'm interested in, so I'm nothing difficult to read material, because already I'm interested in to read it. Right. So I spend more than 2 hours to read this material, article. I don't pick which I'm not interested in. So this is. I can't concentrate on it.
Right.
Because only picking an article which I'm interested in. So I focus on, I just willingly to use dictionary and prepare material.
Right.
And content is I can understand, 100% understand. But every article I just use dictionary, 30 words every morning. 30 words. still
That's a
young.
lot.
Yeah.
You still need.
Oh, without dictionary, maybe I understand, but
Exactly. So that I think that's
confirm
maybe the difference between you and me.
more precise meaning. I try to use dictionary to confirm.
Right. So I think that's probably the difference between you and me. So maybe you are more critical towards the exact meaning of a word, and I kind of like take the. For me, it's sufficient to kind of understand what they're talking about, to get the general idea of the article that I'm reading, instead of.
So one way is okay for teaching children. Use dictionary, but you need to read some sentences and then use dictionary. And sentence itself is some article you are interested in, kind of article. You need to try to read instead of just memorizing a word. Memorizing word is too much simple work.